Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Lifegasm. This is Elle. I am here with a fantastic guest, but first, favorite cocktail, mocktail, or smoketail? Whatever you prefer to get you going, you'll need it. This evening, we have a fantastic lady, woman, gorgeous, great soul. I love her already. Her name is Delphina Caris, and she is formerly Vanessa Cloke. She is an actor turned advocate, and she's going to tell us what she's advocating for. And tonight's topic, first of all, is narcissism, basically. And I want our listeners to understand narcissism 101. Let's put it that way, because a lot of people don't know what it is, or they have a misconception about it, like I did. I had no idea. I always thought a narcissist was someone who was into themselves, looking in the mirror. I'm gorgeous. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the shit, whatever. I just thought that's where it ended. I didn't know. I had no idea. Maybe they were arrogant. But being in a relationship with the narcissist, and after what I learned and what I researched, I was blown away. And then I started meeting people left and right. And that's how I met you. Just having the same story. Mm-hmm. That was incredible, mind-blowing. And I think Joe Schmo doesn't know about narcissism. So I'm going to give the floor to you. Okay. And also, just give me a little bit of your background. You were in the film industry.
I was for about 11 years. Mm-hmm. I was a late starter. Didn't start till I was about 32, which is like dinosaur in Hollywood. But I did it. And I had a really amazing career, actually. I don't want to go too into just because I know time. By the way, what is our time?
Whenever.
How long do you? Okay, I love that.
We don't give a fuck.
Okay, perfect. So I'm originally from California. Let's see. I owned a dance company, taught a bunch of children, married a sailor, moved to Spain. And then after that, this was for orders. After that, we got stationed in New Orleans. And it just so happened that New Orleans had these tax incentives. It was a major film industry hub. And it was also my childhood dream to be an actor. But I was like, oh, no, I'm too old. And oh, no, and oh, no, and oh, no. Well, I actually was a director for admissions at a modeling and acting school. And I was watching all these kids go meet agents. And I'm like, I want to meet an agent. So I got an extra role on Benjamin Buttons. Remember that Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons? Okay. So I did that. And I was like, I totally was hooked and decided to take a business. I lied to my boss. I said I was taking a business class, but I was taking an acting for film class. And that was pretty much it. Got an agent a few months later after I did a showcase. And it was slow at first, but I built a pretty nice body of work. It includes a recurring character on The Walking Dead, small part, but it was
huge show.
And I was also in The Big Short opposite Christian Bale.
And that like Oscar winning. Yeah.
It won an Oscar. I worked with Jessica Lange once, and that was like
amazing.
I can't.
Like you can't.
I was like, I should just quit now.
Just quit now.
She just I actually forgot my lines because she was so good. I was like, and she goes, well, start again. I was like, yes, start again. She's so good. She's so raw. So,
totally cool.
Anyways, I ended up going back to California because of Oscar season in 2016. The Big Short was up for an Oscar. And I sort of self-sabotaged. I got involved with someone I shouldn't have. And I actually dated two of those people back to back. I always joke like, oh my gosh, I never dated my dad or my mother. And then
were they narcissists?
Well, one was.
Okay.
Listen, I want to say right now, I'm not a therapist and I cannot diagnose.
Right.
But if I were to look at the traits.
Yes.
And I were to look at his behaviors and his traits, I would say maybe they would diagnose. Okay. So I go. Okay. So I had always prided myself on not dating, abusive people because I grew up in a pretty abusive home. And I was like, I'm never going to date anyone like my dad. Da, 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 da.
Right.
My dad was very overtly aggressive. I don't think he was a narcissist. He's old school Greek, was foreign. He was angry about everything and he was a gambler. He had his own shit, but I don't think he was a narcissist.
Yes.
A lot of anger, right? And I was so proud of myself because I didn't ever date him, so to speak. I dated a lot of more passive guys that ended up not being able to defend me or be the kind of mensch or the man that I needed. Well, anyways, by the time I was 40, I finally dated my dad. Okay. And then right after that, I dated, I believe, and I say this with all respect to my mother, she passed away a few years ago. I believe I dated my mom.
Right.
Okay. So, and it really sent me on a path of self-discovery. I've always been a very introspective person. I've always investigated myself, but this was next level shit. Okay. So yes, I met someone and this was after I was in California. So I had gone back there specifically for that.
Right.
So, if you want to jump right in the narcissist, we can do that. Or as far as the film industry goes, because of what happened to me with the narcissist,
Yes.
my career all but ended.
Yes.
And then we went into COVID and now I really don't want anything to do with it
Right.
because I know a lot of stuff now.
And don't worry, we'll edit.
That was a confirmation.
We'll edit that out, but that was a confirmation. While we're talking about Hollywood, let's just, and we're going to talk about narcissism, obviously, but the amount of narcissism in Hollywood, is it what I think it is? Because I look at it and I say, wow, this is going to be like 90% narcissists in Hollywood. Actors, actresses, entertainers, musicians. Just your opinion.
Well, I always say that
looking back now.
Well, I always say that Los Angeles is the narcissism capital of the
There
world.
you go. That's what I wanted to hear.
Now, that's not just Hollywood. Of course, you've got the music industry. You've got all sorts of, but think about who went there to make it. And let's think about who runs it. Okay. So we've all heard the story. I took a bus out from Arkansas. I had a dream. I had a dream. I was going to be all over the big screen. And, I met this one man and he believed in me and yada, 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 yada. 20 years later, I'm suing him in the Me Too movement.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute here.
Yes.
But at the same time, who was that person that went to LA? I think it's fair to say that many artists are wounded.
Yes.
A lot of trauma in the childhood. I also think that many predators are wounded.
Of course.
A lot of trauma in the childhood.
Of course.
So it all really kind of boils down to, how did your trauma evolve? Did it evolve into some sort of knowingness that you wanted a different life and that you wanted to not perpetuate this cycle of your childhood? Or did you become the very people who basically influenced you? Yeah, they raised you. I don't like to say they turned you into, but because of that, this is what happens.
Product of your environment.
If you're an alcoholic, chances are you had an alcoholic parent. If you are a drug addict, very high possibility you had a drug addict parent or someone in the family. Right. If you were a rapist, chances are there was some sort of rape or molestation or some violation as a child. So we have to remember. So going back to your question, yes, I think there's a high rate of narcissism, especially because you're in an industry where everyone's trying to be seen. They're not real. They don't lean into their authentic self because they don't even love their authentic self and they're playing fake people all the time.
Exactly.
And the producers are really, the executive directors, the producers, all the bigwigs, right? They know how to love bomb. Oh, I'm going to make you a star. You got it, baby. You're going to be a star. And we're going to do this for you and this for you and that for you. And then somewhere down the line, you got to pay the piper.
Exactly.
And you got to pay that fee to get through that gate, right? So you're talking about two broken types of people. And then within those communities, it's not like every big, producer is a narcissist. There are empaths. And then every actor is not a narcissist. There are also empaths. And the narcissists feeds off of the empath. And the empath, who so desperately wants to be seen and loved, takes all the love bombing.
Yes.
Also just really believes like, oh my God, finally someone sees me and they
Someone
really
loves
love me. Right.
Yes.
And so there you go. You have the marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not just in Hollywood, that's really kind of the equation or the formula. Now, there's a lot behind this, right? And we can get into as much as you would like, but yes, it's there. And also, the macro kind of aspect in Hollywood is, do they gaslight? Do they stonewall? Well, yes. How many people have we seen blacklisted because they spoke about things that maybe they weren't supposed to?
Exactly.
So suddenly so-and-so is crazy and so-and-so is, a this. And then they're suddenly like, oh yeah, they were with a hooker. We have pictures of it. And I'm like, they were just with a hooker. Like the day after they said that they didn't agree with something, they were just with a hooker.
Right.
Telling the truth really drove them into the hooker's arms. Okay.
Exactly.
So yes, so it's definitely there.
Yeah.
And as someone who I grew up in South LA in Paramount, California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't in Hollywood.
Right.
In college, I dated two guys that lived in Hollywood. I don't drink tequila anymore because of one of those nights. Hanging out, drinking a lot of tequila, right by Madonna's house. Madonna's house, actually, up in the Hollywood Hills.
Wow.
So yeah, it's there. And because you're in a place where so many wounded souls are fleeing or flocking to because they want the validation that they're worthy, that there's something worth loving, why not go to the place where not just one person can love you, but the whole world?
Exactly.
Right? And on a big screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I loved that. No, that was good. Wow. Okay. I want you to tell our listeners, in layman's terms, let's have people that, like myself a few years ago, that had no clue, like I said, what a narcissist was, obviously. What is like a definition, a simple definition, and, to clear up the misconception of what a narcissist is, because it's not someone who loves themselves and looks in the mirror every 5 seconds.
Right. It's actually quite the contrary.
It's
they really don't love themselves at all.
Right. It's the opposite.
Right. So first of all, narcissistic personality disorder is a cluster B personality disorder. Okay. I find it very irresponsible and dangerous of people, as you said, to just be talking about narcissism as an everyday term. It's not just someone who, likes to look in the mirror.
Yes.
I have lots of mirrors in my house because I like the way the light reflects actually off of everything. But also I check myself in the mirror quite often. I'm a little vain and I don't have a problem admitting that.
I'm with you.
People with narcissistic personality disorder, well, first of all, it's on a spectrum.
Yes.
So we all have narcissistic traits, and that's because narcissism is, and the narcissistic traits are, it's part of our makeup because we need it for survival. It's a survival skill. And the best way to kind of explain that is when we all turn maybe 18, 17, 19, and we're flying the coop, right? We're like, we're going out. I'm going to get my own place and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You got to be kind of narcissistic to believe that you're going to go tackle the big bad world and it's going to be yours very quickly.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But a healthy individual will display healthy levels of narcissism and then they'll settle down and they'll make their way into society and yada, yada. Someone who is not able to kind of acclimate to the big world, someone who was not able to jump into society the way that a lot of us did. When that happened, should I just stop? Do you edit it out?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Sorry. It just, my brain.
No, I get it.
Okay. So essentially unhealthy levels of narcissism, you don't stop when you just leave the parent's house. It continues on.
Yes.
And you don't individuate from your parent, specifically, usually your narcissistic parent. Okay. I got to a point in my adulthood, like early in college, where my mother just kept calling all my friends to find me. And this was before cell phones, thank God, right? Because, she was calling everyone's landline. And then like, I just got a message on my voicemail that your mom, my tape recorder, that your mom's looking for you. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Stop Just stop.
Yeah.
I actually didn't talk to my mom for almost a year because she would not stop
Is she a
violating.
narcissist?
Well, I think in the end she did
Traits.
display some traits that were, heavy on the spectrum. I don't think she was definitely not a malignant narcissist, but she did a lot of gaslighting, a lot.
Yes.
So, but I was able to individuate from her because
Yes.
I wanted to be my own person.
Mhm.
Narcissists often do not, more often than, how do you say that? More often than not?
Yeah, more often than not.
They cannot individuate from their parent.
Right. And I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
It comes from childhood. I know that. I've done a lot of research.
Right. It's developed.
It's developed, and it's usually a trauma or from a narcissistic parent, correct?
It's usually from being repeatedly shamed and criticized by typically a narcissistic parent.
Okay.
And what happens is they're shamed so much that they believe that their authentic real self is not valuable or worthy of love. So in order to survive, because you got to be liked in the world to make it.
In order to survive, it's all about survival.
Right? They have to develop a false self.
Yes.
Right? This is a survival mechanism
Yes.
that kicks in as a child.
Yes.
And we all had them.
Yes.
Some people are, very introverted and very quiet. When I meet people like that, I know there was probably a very dominating figure in the home, or maybe an alcoholic who used to yell all the time, and the child could never speak their voice. So as this child of a narcissist develops, one, they don't embrace their authentic self. So they develop the false self, right? Which is what they present to the world.
Yes.
The other thing is, because of the consistent and chronic shaming, they do not develop the tools that you need to go out and to become an independent individual. A lot of narcissists have helicopter mom or it's usually a helicopter mom. I don't see a lot of helicopter dads, but there are narcissists that are, moms and dads. So I'm not saying that one can't be. They definitely can be. But because they lack the tools to individuate from their parent, which is also by design, because that parent doesn't want to be left, they see the child as an extension of them. So it becomes a very emotionally enmeshed relationship. I don't know if your ex had a mother that was maybe way too involved in his personal life.
Maybe.
Okay.
I wasn't sure.
Okay.
He had a very traumatic event.
Okay. So then when they get to be older, they're not really equipped to make it in the big bad world that the empaths were.
Yes.
A lot of them have a hard time even holding down jobs because they can't, like I'm a Gen Xer, right? Like you're working.
Yeah,
I don't care if you're sick. Right. I don't care if my who I think was a narcissist was a millennial. Someone criticized him once at a job, he quit.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That goes with Yes.
And this was like for him.
They can't take criticism.
They can't at all. And for him, it was like an erosion of his existence.
Yes.
So he couldn't work because of
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get into, I'm glad you said that, because the signs and kind of, I don't want to say symptoms, but the signs of a narcissist, what are their traits, their character traits? What exactly, like, how can you spot one?
Okay. So, it really, there's malignant narcissists and there are covert narcissists. And with a covert, they're really hard to spot.
Yes.
I use the analogy of the anglerfish, the one with the light that hangs over. With the
I don't know what that is. Oh, God.
So a narcissist can emulate your everything. And suddenly they just have all the same things in common as you. I love crystals. Yes, girl. Let's go.
Oh, I love this song.
Yeah, let's
this
sage
is my
this.
favorite
I love
song.
astrology.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That is what I went through. Everything in common. Oh my God. I found the one.
Yep.
This is unbelievable.
He was made for me. God was like, I'm cutting him out.
And here he is.
Yep.
Yeah.
On a platter.
On a platter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what else do they do?
Yeah. Okay. So
motherfuckers.
They love bomb you, of course,
here we go.
which is also known as the idealization phase. And I just want to say now, because we're going to have to come back to it. These are all, these are some of the signs, the traits and everything. But I make it a point. I don't demonize a narcissist. And I won't because this is generational trauma.
Yes.
And if I'm here.
They can't help it, basically.
They really can't help it.
They can't help it.
And you tell victims that though, and most of them don't want to hear it.
I know.
Right. And
Yeah.
that is hard to swallow. It is a
Yes.
very hard pill to swallow. But more importantly, again, if you are a healed and whole, authentic individual, you wouldn't even be attracting the narcissist to begin with. That doesn't mean it's your fault.
Mhm.
It just means there was a hole within you that got filled because it was dying and vying for unconditional love. And in
Mhm.
walks this narcissist who, again, just like,
Gives you everything you want.
right. And he just loves the jade stone and he loves
Mm-hmm.
to spray his little sage spray around the house. Like, you talk to his friends, like, what? He's doing what? Okay,
Yeah.
he's a total
Exactly.
right. So
Mhm.
they mimic, but when the angler
mimic.
fish mimics the emotions of the prey, here she comes. Oh my God, he's like, we're like the same. He's like my soulmate anglerfish.
Yes.
And then he just like,
Yeah.
and you're done.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's a devaluation phase. I think it goes straight to the discard and you're done.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
So they're going to love bomb. And that's the idealization. Now what I'll do is
I want you to explain love bombing in layman's terms for our listeners who have no idea what this is.
Right.
Because I have talked to people who have no idea.
right. They don't. And they're going around saying, oh my gosh, he ghosted me, girl. He's a total narcissist. I'm like, no, he's immature.
No, he's just
And he doesn't have a communication skills. Right. And he's probably no
Doesn't have
offense
the
to Gen
bandwidth.
Z. And he hasn't learned how to like, I know this isn't working for me, but thank you so much. I'm glad we spent this time together, which is what you guys should be saying when
But
you're
they're
just,
not,
but
yeah.
they're not. Okay.
But narcissists are more cunning than that.
But that's the thing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the 3 phases. And in each phase, I'm going to tell you the reason why behind it. I think that would be a little bit easier to digest. So you have the idealization / love bombing phase. And this is where mine bought me like a whole pallet of Runts candies because he went to like 10 stores to find them because nobody had Runts. So
And you obviously love them.
I love the banana really. Like, and now they have just banana Runts. So I can just buy the bananas. Right. But they're not the same size as the regular Runts, but it's okay. It's a trade-off. Okay. Then he also went through great lengths to order me Wunderbars, which are my favorite chocolate candy, and they're from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not really sold here. So he found them like in Canada.
Of course.
They're like a Butterfinger with caramel wrapped in chocolate.
Anyway.
They're the best.
Now I want one. Shut up. Keep going.
Okay. They're so good. Okay. So anyway, so he
Shut
orders
up.
me a box of that. And just everything. Like when I asked him once, do you know what my favorite hamburger stand is? He actually said Tam's Burgers.
Right. He knew.
But Tam's, have you heard?
No.
Have you heard of In-N-Out?
Yes. In-N-Out Burgers.
Have you
yes.
heard of,
In-N-Out.
I don't know,
Shake
Fat
Shack?
Burger?
Shake Shack.
Great. But have you heard of Tam's?
No.
Great. So this means this wasn't like he just knew Tam's, but he knew where I was from. And I think he had seen on my Facebook, my favorite.
Ah.
But I didn't know that because this
Right.
person was Prince Charming. And I was like, oh my God. I even remember I'm like in his living room going, this has to be real because he knew my favorite.
He's my soulmate.
And it matches on every level. Okay. So the reason they do this is because the narcissist's entire objective in his entire lifetime is to individuate from his parent, even when
Okay.
he's 50.
Okay.
That's his MO. I must individuate from this parent. And just a quick little interesting note. Often when the parent of a narcissist dies, so they're narcissists essentially, the narcissist, who's also a victim, experiences relief.
Yes.
They
I believe
experience
that.
relief. And just like we
I
did,
believe
if
that.
for some
I've
reason
seen
our narcissist died or something, it's because the voice in the head, that narrative that took over your own voice is now dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that it's not real anymore because they're gone. It's really, really tragic.
But they can't, but they still.
Well, we don't know. I mean, a lot of them age out. There's a statistic, I think it's like 4% of the narcissistic personality disorder. It's okay. Personality disordered population, they can rehabilitate, but that's about it.
Oh yeah. Well, no, mine's no way.
So
Was no way near rehabilitation.
no, and it takes
And it's because it's also, I want you to, talk about how the insecurities are so great.
Yeah, I'll get
okay.
there.
Oh, all right.
Well, and here's another interesting thing. If you're into this world,
It's so much.
you might
We
want,
might have to do parts.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's fine.
Okay.
There's a Dr. Carter. He has a channel called Surviving Narcissism. Great guy. And his brother, I think, is a forensic psychologist, and he works with guys on death row. So they actually did an episode together. They're twins too, which was kind of funny. And his brother said that really the only way for a narcissist to rehabilitate is like complete isolation. What has to happen is essentially a narcissistic injury.
Yeah.
They have to have their ego completely shattered, and essentially an exposure of who they really are. Because that's what's keeping them apart from people knowing is this false self. Yes. Well, if that false self shatters and is exposed, it's almost like a cockroach. And I'm not calling them a cockroach, but it's just like when you turn the lights on, they're like, ah, and they got to find a place to hide.
Right.
That's kind of the same.
Right.
So back to love bombing.
So
they haven't individuated.
It's very serious. And I want, especially, I want women to really.
Well, it's both.
I know it's both.
It's both. And
I know it is
surprised to know how many female narcissists. It's definitely.
I know. I've seen a couple.
Yeah.
Now I've identified a couple.
Yeah.
A few.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. But
we're not naming names though.
No, of course.
So anyways, okay. So here's what happens. They need to individuate from the parent. In order to do so, they basically need to merge with a parent, a maternal, loving, empathetic,
giving,
often
vulnerable,
maybe of the light, maybe vibrant, maybe great personality. Everybody kind of likes them, congenial,
right? Because they're really not good socially, are they?
Well,
they fake it till they make it.
Kind of, yeah. Like mine used to like steal my jokes and stuff, and he was always really awkward, which I thought was weird. But I didn't have evidence. I was just like, there's something off, but I can't find what it is.
Yes.
He had a family. He wasn't abusive. Like there was something. Later, I realized it was his inauthenticity. And of course, all the other things that I learned. So.
But when he was in a social setting.
Well, he was like the life of the party. He was kind of like he was the life of the party, center of attention, but he hated it. And he suffered from severe anxiety. Yes. I mean, severe. So he would wake up drenched in sweat because of his anxiety.
Was he an addict, drugs or alcohol?
No. So he did. No, he did drink.
Because a lot of them are, I think.
Many narcissists have addictions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That doesn't mean all addicts are narcissists.
No, right. Oh, okay. No.
I'm very careful about what I say because if my goal is to really get people to understand this, then we want to try we got to be careful with the labels. Like we don't want to I'm so glad you're doing this because I don't want people to go around labeling everyone as a narcissist. So this is very important that you're doing this.
Exactly.
So, just think of anyone with trauma is going to have some kind of vice because they want to fill the hole, whether it's shopping or food or sex or whatever it is, it's a vice and it makes you feel better. In the moment, right? So these narcissists, they merge with somebody who's essentially like the perfect maternal or paternal figure.
Correct.
And I'm going to drop a name for you. So if your audience wants to do some real narcissism homework, Dr. Sam Vaknin, Vaknin. He's like the OG, coined the term narcissistic abuse back in 1995. He's also a self-aware narcissist. And he's a professor.
Yes.
So what he said was that the narcissist will essentially take a picture of you in their mind of this perfect everything. Because just like they're perfect for you, you are perfect for them. And then once you deviate at all from that perfection.
Oh, you're in trouble.
And this is when the next phase starts, is the devaluation phase, where they start to pick at you and they start to kind of gaslight you.
Yes.
And they start to, which is getting you to question your reality, right?
Backhanded compliment you.
Exactly. And suddenly.
And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. The crazy making conversation where you go to them about something and next thing you're like, wait, I thought I was the one that needed to come.
Yeah.
Why am I?
Yes.
What's going on?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah, which I have journal entries that I looked at after when I found out what it was. I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually wrote everything that narcissistic abuse was. I just didn't have a definition.
Ah, interesting.
So during that phase is when they erode at you, right? They erode you down. You become very weak-minded. You don't even know what's real. By the time my devaluation was over, I had a cyst on my neck and I knew I had to get out. It was not there before.
Okay. Did you feel anxiety?
I actually had my first panic attack ever, like a big attack, but it was to do with his mother who had told me something about him. She said very mean things about him and I didn't want to hurt his feelings. So I held it in and I had a panic attack. Now I'm going to tell you something really interesting though, Elle. The person that I was with, I believe I witnessed when they flipped completely to becoming a narcissist.
Oh, so he wasn't, what do you mean?
Now, my person was in the mental health field. He was a graduate student in the counseling program. So he definitely knew what narcissism.
So he was hiding it.
Yes. And now, like you said, when you found out, you were like, oh my gosh, and oh my God. When I found out what narcissistic abuse was, it was like a Twilight Zone episode. I was like, what? She did that and he said that. It was like everything that I knew I witnessed but didn't have a definition for suddenly had a definition, a term, a vocabulary. I wasn't crazy, right? By the time you're done being devalued, you're very weak. And
you don't even know what happened.
And you don't even know what happened. You really don't.
You don't.
And the most confusing thing is you've shared all of your trauma with this person, probably because they were the person that made
all your most
vulnerable,
all your secrets.
That's right.
Everything.
That's right. That are
he is your soulmate. So you're going to tell him everything.
No secrets.
No secrets.
And he puts them in the vault. And he uses them against you.
And then he uses them against you.
Right. Right. And then
he love bombs you. He gives you gifts, or he or she gives you gifts.
He tells you everything your parents never said about you that you wish you would have.
You want to hear.
Right.
Has everything in common.
Yeah.
What else? He
just completely treats you like the queen that you really should be treated as.
Exactly. But it doesn't last.
No. So then they devalue you. And then the last phase is the discard. And at this point, if you haven't figured it out and you haven't got out, you're going to get out, but they're going to get you out. And it's usually at your most vulnerable time. Maybe you don't have a job anymore. Maybe they told you didn't need to work. Maybe you don't have any friends anymore.
Because you're not feeding his supply. What is supply?
Well,
I want to know about that.
The supply is you being who you were at the beginning. And they need to feed off of that until you have none left. And this is why they need to get another supply. Because they've emptied you out.
Yes.
They filled themselves up.
Yes.
And they emptied you out.
Yes. And I found that, I'm sorry to interrupt
It's
you.
okay.
Keep your thought. That when I started questioning him or saying, oh my God, that really wasn't a compliment. That was a backhanded compliment. Like, well, we'll go back to that because that is one of the things that sticks in my mind.
Right.
And I was like, wow, he's really, and I used to see in his eyes.
Yes.
Anger. And I'm like, am I imagining this? Because he's so nice. He's always smiley. All my friends love him. Everybody. So I was so blinded by it. And I said, but something is still not right. And he would do these little things. And then all of a sudden they added up. And I was like, listen, you can't say that to me. And I started standing up to him. He was done with me at that point.
That's what they do.
And I knew it.
That's
and I knew it.
Figured, even if you didn't know what it was,
yes,
you now see the real him.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
And so at that point, that's when they will discard you.
They discard.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the discard for them is actually, to bring it back around to the beginning, is them trying to individuate from their parent.
Yes. And they do it swiftly. And they do it. It's ugly. It's really ugly.
It can break you.
It didn't break. I'm going to say I'm pretty strong.
I am too.
Yeah. Like, don't fuck with me, motherfucker.
Right.
Like, fuck you.
But it can break people.
Because I was so aware of it. I'm a Virgo. So I was like very aware of, I was so analytical about everything. Thank God.
Yeah. Because
I had it in the back of my mind. And I would always say, to the last few months, I was like, I don't really feel like going down there. I don't feel like going to his house. I feel anxiety. Why do I feel so much anxiety?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like, I was like, something's not right. I think I need to break up with him. I think this is not going to work in the long run. I looked at the whole picture. I was like, it's not going to work with him because I saw little spots. Yeah. And I kept staying and staying and staying. So I was a little bit prepared for it. Even though it was very hurtful, believe me, it was, because it was 2 years and very close. I mean, a lot of time together, a lot together. Like you said, you tell them your secrets, you do this, you do that. So
Oh, you moved in very quick. The move in very quickly thing is also one of the things that
Oh
happened.
my
And I moved
God.
in very quickly with him.
Well,
He was like, just stay here with me. And
yeah, I was like 4 days with, and I said no to the move in. And I'm, of course, so thankful that I did.
yeah.
And then the discard came literally 3 days after we got back from a beautiful vacation. But during that vacation, I have never felt so much stress in my life.
Yeah.
I felt anxiety like I've never felt. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
And I was always trying to please him. And I was always trying to attaboy him. I was always I felt, even without him ever saying a word, that he needed validation constantly, all the time.
Right.
I always had to give him compliments. And I knew that. And it was exhausting.
Yeah.
It was exhausting.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck what is going on?
Yeah.
And when I got out and found out like all about the narcissism, I was like, oh my God, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
And it just goes to prove.
But it helped with my healing, obviously.
It goes to prove that they're very insecure.
So insecure.
Yeah. They're not. When people
ridiculous.
go, oh, he's just so into himself. I'm like,
No.
okay. Okay.
He's so insecure, or she's so insecure.
We all know what compensation is.
Mm.
So the more someone acts a certain way, it's usually the opposite of what they're feeling. So if someone acts like arrogant, they're probably very insecure.
Yes.
So, that's that. But
Yes.
again, you don't know often until you're discarded. I actually, when I saw the cyst on my neck, I was looking in the mirror. He was not home. And I was like, all right, it's in your body now and you got to get out.
Yeah.
And I made one mistake.
What?
So he and I, you remember when you're in high school, like, no, you hang up. No, you hang up.
Yeah.
So we had this thing where he would go, we'd stand in the kitchen and he would say, don't ever leave me. And I would say, don't ever leave me.
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Oh my God. We had that line too.
Yeah. So one day I go into the kitchen and we're there and
He didn't say it.
oh no, he said it. He said, don't ever leave me. And I said, don't ever give me a reason to.
That's that was a discard.
I was arrested.
You were arrested.
A month and a half later.
Oh
no, I was arrested.
Oh, really arrested? Oh.
I was arrested.
Oh, okay.
They sold my arrest video to TMZ.
Oh, I saw this on the internet.
Yeah. They did it. It was released on Christmas Eve. They had about 13 people and 3 cops come to my home and entrap me. They took my refrigerator, the refrigerator we used for a year and a half. I was on this lease, by the way. I lived there a year and a half.
So this was with your narcissist that this
The
all
person
blew up
that if-
on TMZ. Like,
Somebody sold my arrest video to TMZ.
oh my God, that's crazy.
And on the night of my arrest, I almost took my own life.
Oh my God.
So many victims of narcissistic abuse commit suicide because 1, a lot of people don't believe them. 2, they've been isolated from everyone because the narcissist, my life started to.
That's another thing.
get
You're
shittier.
isolated. You're isolated from your friends, from your family. Yes.
Right. My jobs dried up. My photo booth company I had, my booth wasn't working. Like shit just was going wrong. It was his energy actually that was doing this to my life. So I really had a great life, And so that happened. They showed up. I was leaving my apartment and they were all outside with the cops. And they told the cops that he was, just coming to get his stuff because he was moving out. That was a lie. He moved right back in when I finally took myself off the lease because I was too afraid to live in my own home. So then he moved in with his new girlfriend, New Supply. That he met through
they get someone before they describe.
I know.
They already,
And
they already have somebody and they usually cheat.
And they usually smear you. So he had already smeared me.
Oh, you're crazy. She's a crazy bitch.
Right. They'll smear you with the local police department. So he had already called the cops on me a couple times before that. Then he edited a video. There was a video where he had just started yelling at me and calling me names and making fun of me. So he goes outside. Now I'm half Greek. You're not going to talk to me like
You're
that.
going to fuck with me.
And I yelled back at him. But when we went outside, he actually went downstairs and I didn't. I stayed because I don't do that. I don't hit people. I don't fucking fight people. Like I don't do that shit.
Right.
You break up, you break up.
Right.
And you don't involve your family. You don't call your mommy to help you break up.
No.
And you don't sick your former sheriff stepfather onto your girlfriend. You just break up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Be a man. Be a man.
Right. But that's the problem. They can't.
Yeah, they can't.
They can't. So he goes downstairs, and I remember he had, I'm saying this to illustrate, but it's like the tactics the lengths they will go through or go to. He was recording me, and I think I was recording this as well. And he had made some comment. He was calling me crazy. And one of the things I said was, well, if I'm so crazy and you're such a good therapist, how come it took you 1.5 years to figure it out? That was the first thing I said. And then he was downstairs, and he's recording me. And at some point I said to him, you were the one, this is verbatim what I said. You were the one who 2 weeks ago wanted to kill himself. He took the video, he cut out everything except for kill yourself. And then he went and showed everybody and said that I told him to kill himself.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Evil.
Yes.
Well, they do get evil. They are evil.
They are embodied by very dark forces because they're emptied out.
Yeah, very dark.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is a good segue into overcoming narcissistic abuse.
Okay. So if there's I really want,
because it's okay. I'm going to let me just tell you my story really quick. Like what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what I went through after I was discarded. And somebody, one of my best friends said to me, I would say about a week, 10 days after the breakup, Elle, he was a narcissist. And I was like, what? And she's like, remember, I was married to one. I know, blah, 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 blah. And I really didn't, know that much about it, even though she went through it. And she's like, this, and pointed out all of the symptoms, all the signs. I hate to say symptoms, all the signs, everything he did, his, everything. And she knew him. And she said, he was a narcissist. I didn't want to say anything, but she kind of gave me hints she's like, you sure you want to be with this guy? She gave me like, oh, no, he's great. Okay. So she said, he was a narcissist and you need to do some research. And that's when I started the research, like I would say almost 10 days later. And then I got so into it and I was like, oh my God.
You came up for air like 2 weeks later.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then I go on, social media, TikTok, whatever, and Instagram. And I'm like watching, videos of,
Dr. Ramani
and people like, people like you. And I was like, like people don't realize how severe and how powerful it can be and what it can do to your life and what it can do to your psyche, what it can do to yourself. And you have to really do your research and overcome it and not even get into that kind of relationship. That's the key, I think, is avoiding the whole thing.
Well, you can't avoid what's covert.
I know.
But what you can do is
you gotta,
what you can do is you can become the person that cannot be a supply.
Yeah, there you go.
There's nothing you can do about the narcissist.
Right.
So
you can't change them. You can't, there's nothing you can do. Right.
Okay. So
you just have to not be a victim. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is whatever was missing in you that made you susceptible to their love bombing needs to be fixed. So that their love bombing.
Oh, it's fixed.
You don't need them to pour.
I don't need that.
Right. Well, let's talk about the other people though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Other people.
Let's talk about the audience.
Okay. Yeah.
You're healed. That's great. But there's a lot of people who are
Thank
not.
God.
And the people who are not need to do the work that is required to heal your inner child, to heal yourself, to fill what I call the Swiss cheese holes left by your family or whoever traumatized you. And, understand you were a child. You're not sitting here necessarily complaining about your parents, but you can acknowledge that your parents were unconscious to their behaviors as well. And they projected onto you behaviors and whatever that caused you to develop this way. And because you developed this way, you became susceptible to a narcissist.
Right.
And what is the part that needs to be healed? You know, what is your trauma? Did you feel completely unloved by your parent? Okay, you're not going to be able to go back and make your parent treat you differently, but you can heal your own self.
Yes.
And you can validate yourself, and you can also love yourself.
Yes.
Because the number one repellent against a narcissist,
yes,
okay,
is
self-worth.
There you go.
100%.
100%.
My cup is full.
Right.
You cannot add anything that I don't already know that I have. But you can bring some joy in. You can bring me some flowers once in a while, not every damn day. And you can add joy to my life.
Yeah.
But if I have holes in me, if you haven't eaten in 2 weeks, and you go buy Taco Bell, even if you don't eat there, aren't you still going to eat it?
You're going to fucking eat it.
The first place I've seen
You're
in
gonna
years.
Exactly.
And then you're probably eat so much you're going to get sick.
That's exactly what happened to me.
You are hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. For unconditional love. And the narcissist love bombing is exactly the unconditional love that we dreamt of as children, especially with all these bullshit fairy tales, you know, and Barbie.
Exactly.
Right? All the fairy tales.
100%.
Right.
100%.
And we're never going to be satisfied with that. So if you want to heal from narcissistic abuse, do the work. Stop scrolling and looking at content that just pisses you off and justifies your anger and perpetuates your victimhood. Stop.
Yes.
Okay. Stop going around and saying, oh my God, he was just, he did it because he's evil. He's the devil.
Yeah.
You know what? He's very dark, and I feel sorry for him because he's not ever going to experience authentic love.
Exactly.
But you are now putting very dark energy in into the universe, and you are actually going to feel that energy boomerang right back to you.
Right. Right.
Because instead of focusing on the real reason this happened to you, I'm not saying the why they chose. The real reason is there's something about you that needs to get fixed. And the only way for you to hear it was to have some sort of universe bitch slap.
Right.
I got bitch slapped hard.
I got bitch slapped hard.
There we go. Let's just
fuck yeah.
To the universe is bitch.
I got bitch slapped hard.
But I'll tell you what, not that I'd ever sign up for it again, and I'm not sending any fucking thank you notes, but I'll tell you this, I'm not codependent anymore.
Right. We learned from it.
Yes. I have boundaries. I also have been running a support group for 2.5 years. This is the work that we're doing. It's not about like, oh, the narcissist did that and the narcissist. No. Why did they pick you? Why?
Yes. There you go. That's the bottom line.
Yes. And that doesn't mean that you deserved what they did just because you were vulnerable because of your trauma.
I didn't deserve it.
But why did they pick you?
I let it happen.
Well, you
basically.
I don't know that you could say you let it. I didn't let it happen.
I kind of knew.
Well, then that's different. I didn't know.
I kind of had it.
Okay, then why did you continue?
No, because the love bombing got me.
It's codependency.
It is. It's codependency.
It's not knowing your worth. Because if you knew and you had a feeling, you would have said, you know what? I'm not sticking around to find out.
Yeah.
Because I have an instinct and it's telling me this is not okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all.
And now I'm like,
right. As long as we don't overcompensate. Like I've met people who are like, I'm never dating anyone ever because I can't trust anyone. I'm like, that's actually
ridiculous.
Not being healed.
No, that's not being healed. No. That's being ridiculous.
Right. Well, it's not being ridiculous. It's it's being overprotective.
Overprotective.
Yes.
Like they're overcompensating.
Exactly.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
We want to be in the center.
You gotta find that happy medium.
Right.
All right, we have to wrap this up. Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God. Woo.
Do you have some sort of like button that you put on? Because some shows like there's a.
We're gonna do a little gasm game this week.
Oh,
we're gonna start a gasm game.
Okay.
Which I've been wanting to do, but I haven't done. Okay. A little gasm game. We're gonna do fuck, marry, kill tonight. You know, a simple one, easy one, very popular.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill. I'm gonna give you 3 actors. Fuck, marry, kill.
And what is this game again? Like, how do you
play? Fuck, marry, kill.
I know the name.
Do you know what it is?
No.
Okay. So like I give you 3 actors and you say, you want to fuck one, you want to marry one, you want to kill one.
Okay. I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Fuck, marry, kill.
All right. I was
Jake Gyllenhaal.
He
Fuck,
was
marry,
one of my
kill.
people.
Okay, well, that's all. I'll fuck
God.
him, marry
Oh,
him.
And
I
you
would kill him unless he
oh my God. And you would kill him too?
I don't know how to kill him. Unless
No.
we were killing ourselves together because it was in a movie and we were like star-crossed lovers.
So
That's
obviously
it.
you're in love with him.
I'll tell you
That's
real
a good
quick, when
one.
I was married,
I like that.
it was our first anniversary. We were in the Canary Islands, me and my husband. We lived in Spain. Okay. So we go to the Canary Islands for our
Don't even
anniversary.
tell me Jake Gyllenhaal was there.
No, but Jake Gyllenhaal. So our first night, we wake up in the hotel that morning and my husband comes, he's like, wake up, let's go. And I'm like, stop. I have to go back to sleep.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? I go, Jake Gyllenhaal's, I don't think I told him. I was like, I need to finish my dream.
Oh, it was Jake Gyllenhaal?
Okay, Jake Gyllenhaal was not only in my dream, but I had this recurring dream where he would just see me on set somewhere and he'd be like, okay. I don't care. It's the truth in my dreams.
Say it.
Every time in my dream, he would go, there you are. And he would just take my hand
Shut
and we would
up.
walk off together. And get this, I got to tell you,
Did you ever meet
I
him?
almost worked with him more than once. I did a movie called Mississippi Grind, and I don't even know if I'm in the movie, but I don't know if my part got cut out. He was the original lead. So by the time I got there, he wasn't on that movie. Okay, so I missed
So
it.
you never met him?
Then I did a show called Rectify, which also got cut out of that. And the director, the week before my episode, was Jake's father.
Mm-mm.
I'm so close.
Shut up. You were so close, but yet so far.
Yep.
Damn
And
it.
so I haven't, and I actually said to an ex, you know how I kind of usually get what I want? Because I'm pretty good at manifesting. He's like, yeah, we were together like 6 years. I go, okay, I just want to I want to be really clear that when I meet him, I'm probably going to leave you because
Yeah.
I mean, I've been manifesting and what's the point if you're not going to.
Exactly.
And he goes, Vanessa, if you meet Jake Gyllenhaal and he does want to marry you, I will walk you down the aisle. I was like, oh my God, you would do that? You're so great. You really love me. You would. I go, as long as we're both on the same page, because I don't want to break your heart later, but he's my one. He's my
You're
one.
hilarious.
And I do have a boyfriend now. So, but he knows too. I told him from the beginning. Sorry. I love you, Jake. No, I have a
I
boyfriend.
love you, Jake. We're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Delphina
Delphina. Yeah.
Cariz,
Thank you, Elle.
aka Vanessa Cloke.
Yeah. Go look up my arrest video. And then after you do that, can I plug?
My God. Of course. Plug, baby.
If you want to read the whole story, not just
Yes.
the trash media zealots, TMZ version of it, go to www.theescapedgoat.com. Escaped with a D because we got the fuck out, right? Theescapedgoat.com. You can read my story. There's lots of resources for victims. And I was totally doing it to the camera just to talk to your audience. And if you'd like to follow me on TikTok, it's
Escapedgoat.com.
Yeah, an actor turned advocate is the TikTok.
Oh,
And-
awesome.
And on Spotify, the podcast is I Walked Dead.
Awesome.
Because when
Love
you're a
it.
victim of narcissistic abuse, you do walk dead for a while.
Exactly. And you
Yeah.
were in The Walking Dead. I love that.
All
That's
right.
really cool.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
love you. We
Yeah,
will have you
thanks.
back on.
I love it.
Yeah. Everyone, good night. We'll see you next week. Oh, we need to. Oh, shoot. Wait. Oh my God. Gasm of the week. Quote of the week. Gasm of the week.
Is this a quote gasm? Is that what you call them?
A quote of the week.
Okay.
Gasm of the week, I call it. Gasm of the week is your energy is expensive. Use it wisely.
Spend it wisely, isn't it?
Use it wisely.
Oh, use it wisely.
Use it wisely.
Okay, say it one more time.
Your energy is expensive. Use it wisely, or is it spend it wisely?
Oh,
Use it wisely.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I made it
All right,
up.
why are you fucking my quote?
I have menopause brain. I told you I would
Oh
use
my
it once.
God. Fucking on my quote. Fucking guess is fucking on my quote. All right. Love you all. See you next week. Thank you.
Al.